I'm Dr. Sandy Hirsch, Professor and Director of the School of Library and Information Science at San Jose State University, and Principal Investigator and Project Director for what we're calling the Catalyst Planning Grant Project. This planning grant, which was generously funded by IMLS, is focused on creating a post-MLIS residency model for implementing emerging technology in a variety of library settings, and for building leadership capacity of new information professionals in effecting transformative change. Our school at San Jose State University is partnering with 3 national professional associations: the Association of College and Research Libraries, the Public Library Association, and the Urban Libraries Council, as well as OCLC. We had our first meeting with these partners in 2011 to develop and refine our research approach and goals. And we met with them again in February 2012 to share our findings, get their input, and further shape our model. In February, we also had a chance to sit down with our partners to discuss the developing model and get their thoughts on the impact of this project. So what do you see as the impact of this Catalyst project for the profession? How do you see it benefiting?
Well, one of the things I'm excited about is looking at things from a broad view so that it could have real impact for systemic change to the profession. Because what we've been talking about building is a model that's replicable so that people can look at what's the best way to bring new people into an organization and help them succeed.
Right. I think one of the interesting things about this is the scope and the length of the project. We've had a lot of short-term Leadership Institute programs like Snowbird, very successful programs in and of themselves, but they're pretty much a week, and then maybe there's a follow-up listserv or something. Some projects follow up a little better, but they don't have the kind of intensity that like a 2-year residency program would have. They don't have that kind of real immersion in the field that this kind of program would provide.
And I'm really excited about the fact that we'd be building some coaching and training for the institutions, the people at the institutions that will mentor those people. So I think too often we're also busy. We hire somebody in and it's sink or swim. And we're going to hire someone in and be really intentional about helping that person succeed and helping that project get off the ground successfully.
So what else do you think might be a benefit to libraries in terms of how this residency model could benefit libraries, institutions specifically?
Well, we know one of the key areas that we're all grappling, no matter what profession we're in, is how are we using technology, and that's a particular focus of this program, emerging technologies. And as a tool that we're using in the library field, we are very challenged to keep up with what we need to be doing both inside of our libraries and then working with individuals who are our library users. And I think identifying someone in an organization, a resident that comes in and acts as that agent that helps us understand the technologies and how it can be used to help transform the experience of our users as well as all of our staff and how we're interacting so that we're leveraging the technology so it fits best for the needs of our users.
I really like that because I think one of the things I really enjoy is working with what I would call strategic thinking partners. So if you bring in this catalyst, this resident that's all excited about different technologies they've used or different projects, then you're sort of re-energizing the people that are doing the day-to-day, and they get a strategic thinking partner, and the experienced librarian there helps them learn how to navigate the politics and the structure of the organization, but they're hopefully energized by some of the new ideas the person brings in.
I also like the way we're thinking through this project, because when you do drop somebody like that into an organization, what's the effect on the rest of the people who are in the organization? And having this as part of the discussion that we've been having and that will build into the project long term, I think is also very important, because it's you can throw somebody in like that and they can either get sucked up into the day-to-day stuff and kind of be lost, or they can actually be actively resented by people who think, wait, what's this new kid know? Mm-hmm. So figuring out ways to integrate them effectively and make everybody more effective through this process, I think, is also another benefit we can get.
Yeah, and I think the thoughtfulness that's gone into both preparing orientation and resources for the host institution and for the librarian coming into the library is a key to the effectiveness, and what sets it apart from other residency programs that may have been in place before is that we're preparing the host institution to help that librarian succeed in the residency program.
And I think the other thing we're talking about doing is building in a cohort of both host institutions and residents. So if George and Susan have a resident, they're coaching and they're like, what am I supposed to do now? I don't get it. There's a community that they can go to get some solutions or brainstorm with what to do.
And how do you see this model, this residency model, being adopted by libraries, or how do you think that they can use it to benefit them?
Well, I think we're all looking for new models. You know, if we're looking to the future, we're looking to how we're going to be changing our organizations. So to be able to pilot this in a small number of libraries and find out what works well, and also, again, what doesn't work, it enables all of us to be able to piggyback on to something that's been tried out, and we find out that it really is replicable. So it enables us to leverage our resources as best we can.
We know that people in the library feel like know before any new idea, well, what other libraries have tried this?
That's right.
This is where we can
Right.
say, well,
Right.
this library, and this library, they all tried it, they all lived, you'll be okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And the project will result in toolkits and resources for libraries so they can read about it, hear success stories, learn from failures. And that's always a positive thing for public libraries, is to have those resources. And as you said, George, to see that, yes, others have tried it, they've lived, it's been successful, and now they can enthusiastically embrace the idea.
Well, and I think another nice thing is that when you bring in a resident, you've got a 2-year commitment. You're not marrying somebody for life. And
Right.
you both know that it's a short, constrained amount of time, and you can learn from that. The organization can learn, and then you're helping grow that resident, and the resident is changing the organization as well. And then the organization gets to try it again with a new person. So I'm hoping this could be a sustainable model with a continuous succession of residencies that inform the organization to help it stay dynamic.
Well, this really links back to the IMLS 21st Century Skills, because of the flexibility, the focus on technology, the user-centric focus. I think all of these tie into what we're talking about now. And it makes good use of the work that was done on that group and that the IMLS has been pushing. So.
Yeah, there's so many things in technology, like in academic libraries, we're realizing we need to have skill sets around managing large data sets and curating those large data sets. We need skill sets around how to use learning management systems, how do we assess individuals, and how do we track the data on those individuals. And those aren't things that people necessarily learned when they went to library school 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So those residents may help bring in some of that new knowledge about what's going on out there and help be that strategic thinking partner and grow some of these new applications for the library.
And we also know that when technology works really well, it's because the people around it did all the right things in terms of connecting it to the right people and to the culture of the organization. So linking a resident to leaders within the library that are already there to help make those cultural connections, the organizational connections that we've all been talking about, that also is perfectly synced with the IMLS 21st Century Leadership Skills. It's all about relationships and being attuned to the organization.
So it's interesting, you're talking about skills. What do you see as the benefit then for residents themselves? How do you see this moving them forward?
I think, first of all, it's a huge leg up if you get some coaching about how to navigate an organization. If this is your first experience in, say a large academic library or a small public library, there's so much that you don't learn in a course that you just learn by experience. And it goes back to what you said, Susan, it's all the relationships. So having a coach by your side to help you understand both, I like to think about the 4 frames that we talk about in the ACRL Harvard Leadership Institute in terms of the symbolic frame, the structural frame, the human resources frame, and the whenever I list 4, I always forget one. The political frame, which is something I think a lot of people come out of grad school saying, I don't do politics.
Right.
Well, guess what? If you're going to be successful, you better learn a little bit about the political side, or you're not going to be able to further your ideas.
If you work with people, you better learn the political side.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, I think this project provides a great structure and framework for a relatively new graduate of library school, as Mary Ellen said, to go into the workplace. It's not school anymore, it's real life. And at the same time, you'll be getting tools, you'll be entering an environment, a host institution that's very happy to have you, that is excited for the opportunity to try out, use your skill set to further the library's goals. So I think there's a tremendous opportunity for the resident to use their skills to right away and to grow the library at the same time.
I think one of the things that all of us have experienced as professionals is the value of a professional network. And as we've been talking about this program and thinking about individuals who will be coming out of graduate school, you're just at that point, just now starting to build your professional network. And I think this allows you to start to throw or cast your net and start to meet professionals beyond the graduate program that you've been in, and provides that kind of one leg up in terms of connecting with people and being able to share your experience as a young professional.
Well, the other part about this too, I think, is if they're working on a specific project, and if it's in emerging technology, there is risk involved.
Yeah.
So people can also discover, the resident, him or herself, can learn what it's like for a project to really flounder, and sometimes not even succeed. But you learn from that as well, and you learn that you have to have some risk in order to have some gain. If we just try to do the status quo, we're going to fall farther and farther behind. We're a risk-averse profession. This is a way of having a safe place to do some of that risk. And maybe that will also be not only good for the resident, but good for the profession.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's an exciting project. Thank you.
Thank you.